Bathroom reform is coming to the ATP Tour in 2022. That's right, new rules published by the ATP about bathroom breaks and medical timeouts. I do wonder if this bathroom reform would have happened had Andy Murray not been upset about losing at the US Open, which is a pretty terrible reason to swoop into action and enact new rules. With that being said, players using bathroom breaks strategically is not new. There is actually a scene featured in the new movie, which I made a video about, King Richard, Venus, and Serena, about Venus Williams's second career match, where her opponent actually used a bathroom break to ice Venus. So this has been in the sport for a very long time, but apparently all that had to happen for someone to do something was a player of the stature of Andy Murray getting rather upset. So I want to go through these rules and read them, but I just want to start out by saying I'm a little bit conflicted on this topic. Here's why. I cannot take a sport seriously that has to make rules about toilets. Can't. I just, come on. I can also not take a sport seriously that involves toilets as a legitimate strategy of trying to win. So it's really a lose-lose here. I don't know what else to say. Let's get into these rules. Players can take a maximum of 3 minutes once they have entered the toilet. Now, there might be some debate about the appropriate length of a poop. Everyone might have their own personal opinions on this. I think 3 minutes is enough time. I mean, again, to each their own. This is fine to me. I think 3 minutes, that's okay. By the way, the timer starts when the player enters the bathroom, just to be clear about that. All right, players will receive 2 minutes for a change of attire in addition to the 3-minute toilet break. That's smart. I would think 3 minutes might not be long enough to relieve yourself and change your clothes. I think 3 minutes would be tight, so they add another 2 minutes. I will say, though, do players need to announce the plans of their break before going? Do they need to be like, this is a bathroom and a clothes, right? Do they need to specify that? Because that seems a little bit cumbersome, a little bit awkward, but I suppose it's fine. There's nothing really inherently wrong with it. So okay, good one. Change of attire may only be done in conjunction with the toilet break unless authorized by the chair umpire. I'm really concerned about this unless authorized by the chair umpire. Is this going to be some sort of sweat level evaluation that's done? It's going to be like, hi, I need to change. And then the chair umpire is going to be like, well, let me see your shorts. I mean, again, as soon as you open this up to subjectivity, that's where these rules go awry. In terms of the steadfast rule that a change of attire may only be done in conjunction with the toilet break, that seems a little bit strange as well, because obviously if you want to change your clothes and you don't need to use the toilet, you're just going to say that you need to use the toilet. I mean, it's a little bit clunky here. I would think that you could just make a rule about how many breaks you're allowed to have. I don't see anything incredibly problematic here, but I do think the chair umpire getting to subjectively authorize a change of attire without the toilet break, let's say a player had already used their toilet break, that could make for some pretty hilarious exchanges. And I think there might be some issues there down the road. Okay, a player may only take one toilet break per match. I honestly think that's realistic. You're obviously going to go to the bathroom before the match. A best of 3 set match. Remember, this is not a rule in the slams, and the Australian Open has already announced that they will not be using these guidelines. Best of 3 set match, the longest you're going to see is a little bit beyond 3 hours. I would think that with all of the fluids that a player loses throughout the duration of a match and all of the adrenaline pumping and all of that. If you use the bathroom midway through, you should be okay. It is a little bit jarring to see such a rigid rule, uh, as it could be the case that a player has a bathroom emergency, and we'll get to that later in this bulleted list. Toilet breaks can only be taken during a set break. That's absolutely appropriate. Great rule. Thumbs up. I think that should be the case. I don't think there should be any mid-set toilet breaks. That doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't be fair, in my opinion, to the opponent of the toilet breaker. Time violations will apply if a player is not ready within the allowed time. I would like to know more details about this. I would like to know, is there a warning for the first minute? When does it become a point? Is it every 30 seconds then from there? I'm sure that we will get clarification on that. I do wonder if a player needs to use the toilet for a second time in the match and they try to do it during the changeover. How feasible might that be, right? How penalized will they be? But there it is. Those are the toilet break and change of attire rules, effective 2022. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think for the most part this is going to be okay. However, when you put in rigid rules, you sometimes take attention away from what matters, which is the tennis. And you start deciding matches based on silly things like how long a player may have used the toilet, or how many times a player may have wanted to use a toilet during the match, or whether or not their change of attire was authorized by the chair umpire that is not in conjunction with the toilet break. But I think 98% of matches, this should be absolutely fine and should go on without a hitch. And if they are trying to take away going to the bathroom as a strategy, I do think that this will be effective. I do think that it will successfully accomplish that goal. There was also medical timeout reform. Only 2 bullet points for this one, and the effective date is to be determined, so it doesn't begin at the start of 2022. The first bullet is that 1 3-minute timeout per match, to be taken during a changeover or a set break only. I think that that's appropriate. I don't think that there should be any mid-game medical timeouts. However, I do think there needs to be an exception if a player is bleeding, because a player cannot bleed on the court. That is also in the rule book. I imagine there's an exception for that, but I do not see that written here. I would be concerned if that wasn't. And then the next rule is actually very interesting. The next bullet says, if the player cannot continue to the change of ends, he will forfeit the points required to get to that change of ends / set break. Yeah, so that makes perfect sense, right? You're not, people might say this is cruel, right? This is really cruel. No, it's not really cruel, because if you really need a medical timeout that bad, you are allowed to take one. There is just a consequence. You must forfeit the game. And I would think that if the medical situation is so severe that you can't wait until the changeover, then you probably don't have a great chance at winning anyway. So I see no problem with that. The only, I guess, real change is that they only allow 1 per match. And I kind of like that too. I think a lot of these medical timeouts are a little bit unnecessary, and they are, very, I don't know if I'm finding the right words here, but I feel like these medical timeouts are used as a luxury. Players are getting massaged in sore areas. Obviously, I think it's important that sometimes players are evaluated when more serious things happen, and I'd hope that there could be some set rules and regulations for instances where that is the case. I don't think a player experiencing chest pain or difficulty breathing, I don't think, I feel like there are certain symptoms that maybe should get a excused medical timeout in that case. And remember, this isn't visits by the trainer. This is the 3-minute timeout. And really, there's no room for more than one of those in a match. Again, it might sound cruel, but you look at other individual sports. You look at golf, okay? Uh, you have to play. If you can't play, then you're really out of luck in that sport. By the way, if you have to go to the bathroom, you're pretty much out of luck in that sport. And it takes a pretty long time for even a PGA pro to finish, or a WPGA pro to finish 18 holes. So that's that. And then obviously boxing, MMA, there's no medical timeouts really that are extended besides when you get poked in the eye or if you get hit in the nuts. Those are the two scenarios where you get to take a break, but it's really not a part of that sport either. And obviously you can't go to the bathroom there. Now that's a shorter duration, generally speaking. But yeah, let me know what you think of these rules. I think that they're probably not completely and entirely necessary, but I'm curious to see how they play out. And I think for the most part, they are actually going to accomplish the goal, and they're going to reduce the amount of gamesmanship happening in the sport. I just don't know if taking away that gamesmanship is worth the price of utterly stupid things affecting the outcome of a tennis match, such as toilet breaks. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.